As the clock starts ticking for Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes. Hello, everyone. My name is Derek, and welcome back to Detroit Lions Syndicate. You already know what we do on this channel, but if this is your first time here, we talk all things Detroit Lions, so consider subscribing to the YouTube channel. Before we go any further, I want to mention that Savion Smith seems to be doing okay. He did travel home with the team, and he is in concussion protocol, so he will be there. The NFL has gotten a lot more strict on concussions, so no word if he'll play when we come back, but he seems to be doing okay. Turns out it was a concussion. During the broadcast, they said it was a neck issue, but it wound up being a concussion. He did travel home with the team. He tweeted on Twitter saying that he was all right, and he is going to be fine, so it seems. So good news for Savion Smith. Today, we're going to have a real conversation, one a lot of you guys might not want to have. Now, before we get started, I want to be very clear. I'm not always right. I don't pretend to be always right. I do like when I'm right. You know, I think everybody wants to be right. Nobody wants to be wrong. And while I had the Lions at 9-8 based on the strength of schedule from last year, that looks like that's not going to happen. But you and I are going to have an uncomfortable conversation right now. And that is Dan Campbell and or Brad Holmes the right man for the job? Has the clock officially started on maybe their time running out in Detroit? And my honest opinion is that for either one or both, it has. I think it started for Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell is in charge of the coaching. Now, Brad Holmes can be on a similar clock or a completely different clock. But I think for Dan Campbell, as much as we love him, I think the clock has begun to start. Now, before I go any further, I think that I'm not saying that he's going to be fired this year. I'm not saying he's going to be fired next year. But I think officially the clock has begun to start on whether or not he is the right man for the job. Now, allow me to explain what I mean. Last year, we gave him a pass. We gave both of them a pass. It was like, okay, you had nothing to go on. You had Matt Patricia's old team. And I think that a lot of us were blind. We saw Matt Patricia's old team and what Matt Patricia left us with more than we saw what Dan Campbell was capable of, right? So we knew that he was good at motivation. We knew that these guys were playing for him. We knew that. And he made some bad coaching decisions in year one, but it was his rookie year. So he got a free pass on that. But if you look to this year, a lot of coaching things are the same. That's on me. His token go-to after the press conferences is very comparable, in my opinion, to from that standpoint. And I love the dude. I said that I really believe that these guys are going to be the ones to bring us the long-awaited playoff win that we've been searching for over 30 years now. And I want to believe that. And I think that the window is still time for Dan Campbell to fix his wrongs, to right the ship, to get everything where it needs to be. But I think that the clock has begun because if you look at it, what has he changed from last year? Then when you bring Brad Holmes into the mix, you're looking at, well, the draft, and Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell ace draft number 1, and draft number 2 is so-so. So-so. We have Aiden Hutchinson, who a lot of y'all are ready to call a bust. We have Josh Pascal, who we don't know what he can do. We have Malcolm Rodriguez. We already know his story. We have Chase Lucas. We have Kirby Joseph. And we have James Houston, who didn't make the team. So I would say if we gave his first draft an A+, this one is a C-. We only have one person currently making an impact on the team. And as much as I love Hutchinson, it's not him. It's Malcolm Rodriguez, right? So now you got, I think, year number 1, it was the blemish of Matt Patricia's old team. So everything that we saw, we just passed on it, okay? Dan Campbell has gone, listen to this stat. In the last 8 quarters, okay, both games, the games against the Seahawks and the game yesterday, this guy has gone for it on 4th down 12 times. You went 0 for 6 yesterday and 4 for 6 in the Seattle game. In 8 quarters of play, you have gone for it on 4th down 12 times. Now, I did a live stream on my other channel, and somebody brought the argument of if you don't trust your defense, then you're going to go for it. This league is not made for people to go for it on 4th downs 12 times in 2 games. It's just not. It's not built like that. You have to be able to punt the ball away. Your defense has to be able to step up. In addition to that, we cut Riley Patterson for Austin Seibert. We then waive Austin Seibert. We bring in a kicker who did not kick a field goal attempt yesterday. I'm starting to wonder what was the point. So again, these are conversations that I'm okay having. I'm okay having. This is what I do. I'm right sometimes, I'm wrong sometimes, but this is conversations that we have to have. And I believe that the clock has started. Now you might say, well, Derek, they gave Brad Holmes a 5-year deal and Dan Campbell a 6-year deal. The argument is that he has 3 years, 3 to 5 years, no matter what. And I disagree with that. I think if Sheila is a boss, she'll make a boss decision. Is that boss decision firing either Dan Campbell or Brad Holmes? It could be. Is it doing it now? Absolutely not. I'm not saying he needs to be fired now. What I'm saying is if these same mistakes are being made in year 3 is not year 1. If you're seeing somebody that is doing the same thing in the 3rd year of their job that they were doing in year 1, and those things are not working, that's a problem. And I think that for me, that's when the heat will begin to turn up. I think the burners are getting lit, and it's going to get turned up in year 3. This is a safe space, believe it or not, to talk about the Detroit Lions. I had a moment yesterday when a mobile quarterback was mentioned. Mobile quarterback was mentioned over defense, and I lost it. I just cannot. I've been screaming defense literally since I've been talking Detroit Lions on YouTube, and it's the one thing that we keep neglecting over and over and over. And if we do get it, we pick the wrong guys, right? We pick guys. I don't understand why we're picking injured dudes when it's almost like they already phoned it in this year. That they said, okay, we got 3 years, 4 years. Let's just phone it in. Let's get Jamison Williams for the future. Let's get Josh Pascal for the future, right? So that means that let's say they did do that. And let's say that you, the fan, are okay with that. That means that year 3, you are going to expect dramatic change, right? So if we wind up 3-13-1 year 1, okay, mind you, we've picked in the top 10 now for what is trending 5 years in a row, okay? While other teams are turning it around, but that's a different topic. If we get to year 3, what are your realistic expectations? What is your demand for this team to be in year 3 from under this regime and this ownership? What is your demand for this team? Put it in the comments below. Not year 4, year 5, year 3. What is your demand for this team? I like the Sunday, Monday longer videos. It's going to be a long week because we have no football this Sunday for the Detroit Lions. We go to the bye week on a loss, and that always sucks. It would have been nice to get back in this thing and, head to the bye week, come out healthy against Dallas. I will say that this channel, you'll see the same thing. I'll still make content every day. I've always been realistic in my point of view. I've never tried to throw hype, for hype's sake. I love when the playoff predictor comes out in week 11. I love it. I love trying to figure out a way how this team can make the playoffs. You know why? Because it keeps me going. When the playoffs are lost, there's nothing to play for. There's nothing to watch. There's no reason. And we already saw what the excitement can do. It can fluff you up for nothing, right? So you'll see that. You're going to see how the Lions can make the playoffs. It's not me being unrealistic. There is a mathematical chance they can make it. And that is how I keep going through the misery year after year after year, is the hope that this team can get to where they have a chance. Okay, so that you're going to see that stuff. So don't be, nope, it's not they will. Okay, it's how they can, what they need to do, because that's what keeps me going. So expect more content, man. Whether you like it or not, that's okay. We're all not built the same, and it's okay to have different opinions. You can start a YouTube channel just like I did and talk about it. That's the beauty of this platform. There is still a lot of football left, and that saying is going to run out soon. We have 12 games left. Soon there's going to be 8 and 6. Not a lot of time to turn it around. Now it's going to be about finishing the season strong. And it's just, I don't know. It's just tough. It is. So you already know what time it is. My name is Derek. This is Detroit Lions Syndicate. Subscribe if you haven't. We're almost at 6,000 subscribers, man. Let's see if we can get to 6K by the time the Lions play again. You guys are awesome. Take care of yourself. And as always, go Lions. It's hard, but we're still here. We're not going anywhere.